I can get behind this.
FBI, open up!
Okay, folks, we gotta talk. Now, if there was one thing the latest episode of Helluva Boss did right, it was introducing Loona and Octavia to each other. Everyone has their nitpicks, but this meeting, where two troubled daughters of two deeply flawed men are able to have an honest talk about their situation feelings, it's good. It's not easy being the daughter of a train wreck, but it gets a little easier when you're not alone. And having someone that can understand what that's like makes it even better. Which is way too much feels for the internet. As newsflash, people have been shipping these two before Octavia even had a chance to take a breath. So all this did was throw extra fuel on the already horny fire. Like, I get it, the aesthetic. But what people might take for romantic chemistry might actually be the sisterly bond that the other desperately needs in their life. So since analyzing shipping is somehow my job, I figured I might as well see what this ship has to offer, why they're better off as family, how the show actually tricked us into shipping it, and how not all love is romantic. And yes, that is how I'm justifying the title.
Your money is gone and you're never getting it back, and you can write us a bad review, but we'll play dumb to it because it's hell and no one fucking cares.
Now, Loona and Octavia are two characters the community has been dying to see meet since they were introduced. Blitzo and Solus are two train wrecks masquerading as people, so for the both of them to have their own angst-ridden daughters to deal with, it's just a level of character symmetry that made their meeting feel inevitable, as they're going through a lot of the same issues and are seriously lacking in significant female relationships. On the daddy issues side, Loona and Octavia are opposite sides of the same reaction spectrum. Loona was adopted by Blitz a month before she turned 18, growing up in a pound that locked kids in cages with minimal supervision or oversight, the caretakers not stepping in to deal with problem children, allowing the kids to fight and grow isolated, all while being paraded in front of potential parents who wouldn't pick her. Loona was being set on a dark path where she would just be thrown out onto the streets to struggle on her own without building the emotional stability or skills required to function safely. She was pretty much raised in jail, and the only real life lessons she learned was how to fight and push people away. Seeing the similarity, Blitz adopted her, but unfortunately, Blitz wants an idealized version of fatherhood, one that's incredibly loving and affectionate, which is just not the type of relationship Loona is looking for, as she's too guarded to show affection like that, and Blitz is being way too pushy. Loona appreciates Blitz, but she's trying to keep him at arm's distance, trying to be the antisocial teenager who wants nothing to do with her family. And this leads her to be incredibly independent. She really just wants to do her own thing, but doesn't really know how to do it or how to handle the other people in her life without defaulting to hostility. Octavia, meanwhile, is the inverse. While Loona wants to do her own thing and on the surface rejects Blitz's love, Octavia is a massive daddy's girl. Solus is the most important relationship in her life, and before this episode, the only one. From a young age, she has been afraid of losing her dad. Solus wants to be there for her. He was forced into an arranged marriage with Stella, but putting up with his wife's insults and abuse was a small price to pay if his daughter got to sleep soundly. Then he started banging Blitz.
That was the sound of a fucking divorce!
From this point on, their marriage stopped even pretending to be functional, with Stella screaming at her husband, smashing anything she can get her hands on, turning their house into a war zone with Via being the real casualty, as she now has to deal with her parents' divorce, which is a struggle at any age. Emotionally shutting down, she spends most of her days not interacting with anyone and just trying not to get involved. All while Via's anxiety about her dad abandoning her seems to be coming true as Stolz continues to prioritize flirting with Blitz over spending time with her. Both Octavia and Loona are struggling with the unintentional negative consequences of their father's actions. They love their dads, they really do, but they are struggling with how to deal with them. And neither Stolas or Blitz want to be a bad dad. They're deeply flawed people who are struggling with their own issues, on top of not really knowing how to best parent their kids. As being a parent, it's hard. Blitz and Stolz have it even harder since they themselves lacked a positive father figure. Their dads were neglectful, manipulative pieces of shit, and this left them without an example of what to do as a good dad. All Blitz and Stolz know how to do is to not be like theirs. All this generational trauma trickles down to Loona and Octavia. They have all the issues, but that also creates a sense of understanding between them. Their relationship with their dads is complicated and messy, with so many conflicting feelings that it's hard for them to even talk about their problems. Loona and Octavia, though, don't have any of that baggage with each other, only sympathy and understanding, as Loona can immediately recognize what Octavia is going through, allowing the furry to give advice to help Via deal with her problems. While talking out also helps Loona come to process her own. Having someone to talk to allows her to vocalize and understand her own feelings. Keeping everything inside, ruminating on it, just makes you feel the same anxiety and anger without ever really processing why you fully feel that way. Explaining them to someone else lets Loona's brain actually organize and express how she feels about Blitz, leaving both Loona and Via in a better place after it, which is why people have wanted to see these two connect after so long, as these two sadly don't have any friends that we know of. As far as significant female relationships go, they only have each other. This is one of the sad consequences of the show focusing so heavily on Stolas and Blitz. It leaves a lot of the supporting cast with little to do. They're all a little bit underdeveloped besides maybe Moxie, with what little development we do get, usually going into detail about how they feel about one of the horny idiots. Millie gets this the worst. Did a video on it, my point still stands. But Loona and Via also struggle from this lack of focus, as they don't really have any other significant relationships in their life besides their dads. Loona is in this weird place where she's primarily just pretending to be apathetic to everyone in the office, with the only other woman at Imp being Millie, and they low-key hate each other. It's never explored in any meaningful way. Loona is very hostile to Moxie, picking on him whenever she can, calling him fat a lot. It's not a joke, it's just a personal attack, at least the second time. Maybe this is why Millie dislikes her so much. It might be the accent, but Millie comes off as a bit racist to hellhounds. Millie has repeatedly referred to Loona as just the dog, the hellhound, which comes off as her refusing to acknowledge Loona as a person, which based on how Hell treats hellhounds, that's kind of fucked up, as Hell seems to treat them as a mix between an actual person and an object. Sometimes they're people. Other times, they're just a pet. This is seen in the language that the caretaker uses when she talks about the hellhounds at the pound. Oh, good for the family, good for the wife. And it's very, very worrying. This would give anyone identity issues, and it's extremely concerning. So for Millie to constantly be throwing language like this at Loona's face, it's not good. Meanwhile, Octavia hasn't been shown to have any friends. Again, that we know of, primarily due to every single episode that she's in focusing on her relationship with Stolas and not having room for anyone else. What we have seen is the complete lack of interest Octavia has with her mother. Octavia vastly prefers Stolas over Stella. He's the one she's worried about when she's crying over having a nightmare. He's the one she's worried about leaving her. The general vibe we get about Stella and Octavia's relationship is that they aren't close. When Via was a kid, she was worried about her losing her dad. Doesn't even mention her mom. And in the present, Stella barely even acknowledges Octavia's existence. The only time she ever brings her daughter into the equation is when it might potentially affect her life. There's no care or worry about how this divorce is affecting her daughter. The only time we've heard Stella mention Octavia is when she thinks Stolas is turning Via against her. It's incredibly narcissistic, and so far, it seems like the only thing Stella cares about is getting payback against Stolas. The only confirmed interaction these two have together is Stolas saying that Stella takes Via away for the weekends, which sounds less like mother-daughter bonding and more like Stella depriving Stolas of access to his daughter, as Stella only kept living at their house to make Stolas' life miserable, to be a constant reminder of him ruining their family. So she wasn't about to let him have fun with their daughter or find any sense of peace while she's away. Via sees Stella as her mom. She has fond memories of them being a family, but we have never seen Octavia's relationship with Stella be explored in any meaningful depth. All these issues leave Octavia and Loona in a place where it only makes sense that the two of them could play a huge part in each other's lives, be the support that the other needs in all the chaos that surrounds them. Loona is hostile to most people. It's probably her defense mechanism against, well, growing up in prison cells. But with Octavia, Loona allows that aggression to drop, to not see her as a threat and to realize I need to help this person, realizing maybe I shouldn't be an asshole here. Via, meanwhile, needs people in her life that can give her stability, to give her advice, that can understand how she feels. So these two developing a more sisterly relationship works perfectly. It helps both of them open up. As while their dads do have a lot of the same issues that they do, those relationships have so much baggage. They have so much, can I really talk to them about this? But with each other, They have none of that, and they can finally express how they feel. So with all that, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that people started shipping them together. I mean, I've seen ships fueled by nothing more than eye contact, while other times it's just an ice theme. The moment where they finally talk is incredibly intimate, which a lot of people will interpret as romantic. I mean, they even hugged. I know for myself personally, I thought there might be a romantic overtone here, mainly because the show kind of tricked me. The red glow from Octavia and Loona's eyes have this weird effect that it makes it look like there's just the slightest blush on the both of them in certain scenes. So between lighting the cigarettes, the hugging, them looking gorgeous with the midnight sky, you see the blush and you think, oh my god, they're making this a romance thing. Only for you to look back and realize it's just the outer glow from the eyes. If you see it and don't realize what it's really coming from, yeah, it totally makes sense why you would code this the way you did. But then you check the ages, then you find out Octavia is still technically a minor at 17 and Loona is 22. Have your opinions about when and how okay a 5-year age gap is, but trust me when I say that this show isn't going to intentionally take the heat for this one. Plus their dads are already dating and they're gonna be step-siblings soon, and this is neither Pornhub nor Rick and Morty. They aren't going to pull an incestuous call me by your name, it's just not worth the headache. But yes, the fan art will be fire. For me personally, Octavia and Loona are two people I have always been dying to see meet. They are very much reflections of their parents. From Luna's refusal to let other people get close to her, which is just Blitzo, while Octavia struggles as her life gets upended by the whims of her parents. These two are suffering through very stereotypical teen issues, and it's great. I've always felt that these two would just hit it off, and the sisterly bond they seem to be going for is everything that I wanted out of them. And these two really need someone in their life that they can talk to. They're not yet dysfunctional messes like their fathers, but with Blitz and Souls trying to be better and helping each other, they might just have a shot at mental stability. So tell me what you all thought about Loona and Octavia finally meeting. Do you ship it? Do you not? Please enjoy all the outrage comments of people who assumed the title was about romance. Like, share, and subscribe to all my nonsense, and check out my other Helluva Boss bids. Follow me on Twitter, and have a good one.